Welcome to We Are Venomaniacs, the Venom site's official podcast for all of your symbiote news, reviews, and point of views. In this podcast series, a few of the fan club's esteemed and brave members take to the airwaves to discuss symbiote-related comics, movies, cartoons, games, and more. We also provide new updates on fresh media and merch, all, of course, about symbiotes all the time. Every so often, we will go deep into the canon and mystery of symbiotes in comics. Have you ever wondered why symbiotes are weak against fire and sonics? Or how all the seemingly conflicting interpretations on symbiote culture or history all fit together? Who's actually the strongest spawn of the Venom symbiote? We'll get to that and more in due time. For now, let's get you up to speed. This episode is part 2 in our 2-part podcast extravaganza. You can listen to the last episode to hear our discussions about Eddie Brock's return as Venom in Venom number 6 and Venom number 150. In today's episode, we're talking about the next story arc in Venom, The Land Before Crime, starting with issue number 151. Then we will discuss the new Edge of Venomverse events series coming in June, plus the recently, and I mean really recently, announced Venomverse event and Venomverse War Files tie-in. Also, stay tuned until the end of the episode for a super special announcement, so you won't want to miss. We're joined again by John, Carlos, Tyler, and Aaron from the last episode, along with myself, Orion. Now that that's all out of the way, let's get started with our discussions. Starting with next month's Venom number 151, we're getting a crazy story arc called The Land Before Crime, in which Venom battles with Stegron the Dinosaur Man and his army of dinosaurs in Manhattan. Stegron is an obscure, long-time Spider-Man foe who's like a dinosaur version of the Lizard, and who once teamed up with fellow dinosaur person Sauron of X-Men fame. And that's about all you really need to know about Stegron, right? What are your thoughts on this totally left field pitch, and what do you hope to see after this story arc, John?
Well, I have very mixed feelings about it. For one, it doesn't seem to match tonally with the rest of the series. The first 6 issues of this volume for Venom started with Lee Price dealing with gang crimes and real down-to-earth stuff, dealing with Black Cat and Tombstone. And now the first thing Eddie's going to do is fight dinosaurs. That sounds kind of, like you said, out of left field. Sounds kind of crazy. Doesn't really match the tone of the series so far. And so while that sounds kind of goofy, I, for one, really enjoyed his goofy 90s adventures. So if this is something along those lines, I could really enjoy it. Yeah. But at the same time, there's not much of a serious storyline that you can do with dinosaurs. Or at least I'm having a hard time imagining a more serious storyline. You know, he's going to be teaming up with Moon Girl in the 3rd issue. It's just kind of odd for Venom, for Eddie Brock's first outing as Venom.
Yeah, especially when you look back on the history of Eddie Brock in the 90s. If our listeners don't already know this, Eddie Brock had a very insane history in the 90s. He had a bunch of different miniseries, spin-offs, and tie-ins, because he was Marvel's crack cocaine. He sold books, and he went on some crazy adventures. Not all of them fantastic. Some of them were like infamous, and you'd rather forget about them. But yeah, this definitely has that taste of, oh, this tastes like the 90s again. What does everyone else think?
One thing I wanted to say was that, like, you bring up, he had a lot of crazy 90s adventures, but even, like, one of the more popular ones, his first one, Lethal Protector, like, even that involved him, like, being king of the hobos, basically, underground, fighting robots, like, so it's sort of, like, harkens back to his roots, really. And, like, on the subject of Stegron himself, I'm totally down for it. You know, maybe it's because I'm just a kid at heart, but I've always loved dinosaurs. Stegron's, he's a guilty pleasure of mine. He's an awesome, like, he's a dinosaur man. Like, where can you go wrong with a dinosaur man? And I'm a sucker for dinosaurs, symbiote dinosaurs. So, and the one thing I'm not looking forward to is Moon Girl. I've never really cared about the character. and I feel like she's going to save the day instead of Eddie Brock. So,
well, she is teaming up with him, so that's where I'm kind of hoping that if Eddie shows that he can team up with a little Inhuman girl, that folks will think, oh, maybe he's not as evil as everyone thinks he is, and hopefully with Moon Girl teaming up, like more folks will start to read the series. I hope. But that's just how I feel about it. But now Stegron, it's kind of weird and random. But at the same time, like this is also like where we switched up with Eddie being back instead of Lee. So yes, we switched tones, but we've also switched hosts. So hopefully, if we're switching up hosts, we can also switch up the tone, which is where I'm thinking. So after this arc is Venomverse. So hopefully, maybe we'll start having more insane issues like these stories, because I love the 90s series, as I said in the last podcast. So maybe if this goes insane and it has more guest stars, like we had a Wolverine, Punisher, all these other people in the 90s. If we start having more of those, more folks will start to flock and start reading the stories.
And it's a strange tonal shift though, like because with 150 the last panel he kills a priest.
Right, yeah.
Right? And so I for one would prefer that the tone go more fun and goofy, and that's just me personally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be odd. If they do go that route, then it's going to be odd, jumping from Dead Priest to teaming up with Little Inhuman Girl. But
I would also say, like, at the same time, in the solicitations, it's saying how Eddie and the symbiote can't bond, and how I think Alchemex is going to help them out. So that may be, part of the whole thing, like with them like having issues with their bonding, and how that can, work with also, having crazy dinosaur men and human girls running around. So hopefully there will be some like more dark tones beyond just dinosaur men and humans.
Right. The overarching plot of the bonding kind of not working out and it seeping through his pores does sound very interesting to me. Just see where they go with it.
Yeah. I mean, we all have our theories about that, like especially with them mentioning anti-venom in the whole letters pages. So
yeah, and Carnage and Flash Thompson and like everyone else. So who knows, right?
There's a lot to speculate with. I think that is going to be the more interesting plot line. Like this is going to be just a fun romp with dinosaurs, but then there's going to be a whole side story. Is what's going on with Eddie's bond, and and one thing I want to touch on an earlier point. You said that like maybe this will get in some new readers, but I really don't know if that it will, because Moon Girl has some of the lowest sales on like she's got like her book sells like 9,000 like copy, and it's her book's only alive because of the whole like Scholastic book deal or whatever. So I really don't know how many readers this would bring in with Moon Girl.
But at the same time, I don't think the folks that read that would be reading Venom. So hopefully, like they see her and say, hey, like maybe I can read this. Like maybe this is something I can get into.
I don't know. It just seems like a really different audience to me. Like it's a kid-friendly book, and this not
like exactly. It is, but hopefully it'll have more readers. But
I mean, personally for me, it's like I was honestly kind of expecting something more, but I can kind of understand why they're trying to put Moon Girl in Venom, because I guess they just want her to have more exposure. But again, I'm not familiar with Stegron, and I'm not really familiar with Moon Girl. And for me, I was kind of expecting just like having a different story where, Eddie gets a more proper characterization and more, gets a more better progression. But, I mean, I'm still going to read the issue. I was just kind of expecting more, it's just a little bit of a type of feeling that I have right now. So.
Right. If the first 6 issues did anything right, I feel like the setting was done well in the first 6 issues of this volume, like with the gang wars, with Tombstone and Black Cat having a gang war. That's really interesting. The biggest problem was that we just had an insanely boring character in the middle of it. But if you threw Eddie Brock in the middle of that, that would have been fantastic, but we're like ripping him away from it now, which is kind of odd.
All right, I think that's a good place to put a pin in the conversation about Venom number 151 and onwards with Land Before Crime. So, also starting next month is a brand new limited event series titled Edge of Venomverse, which will offer 5 what-if style stories starring a mishmash of Marvel characters with the Venom symbiote. The first issue in June features a story about a venomized X-23, who's Wolverine's female clone who started in Logan earlier this year, played by Daphne Keane. Then in July, we get issue 2 starring a venomized Gwenpool, aka Gwenampool, a popular hybridization of Deadpool and Spider-Man love interest Gwen Stacy. And then then we'll also get issue 3 in July, starring a venomized Ghost Rider, aptly named Host Rider, featuring Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider. I'm sorry, that's Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider. Finally, in August, we'll be getting issue 4, starring a venomized Old Man Logan and the Venomsaurus Rex from the original Old Man Logan story. And then issue 5, the last issue, starring none other than Venompool, the combination of Venom and Deadpool. Edge of Venomverse will then lead into a subsequent Venomverse event series similar to the dimension-crossing madness of the earlier Spider-Verse series, which featured an Edge of Spider-Verse limited series that introduced a new alternate universe Spider-Man character like Spider-Gwen. That's a lot of Venom madness to process. Let's first discuss what we each hope to see in Edge of Venomverse. Carlos, why don't you start this discussion?
Well, I'm actually quite excited for this event. Ever since we knew months ago, Marvel's been bringing out these Venomized variants. So far, own pretty much half of them, and ever since when we got Edge of Spider-Verse and the main Spider-Verse storyline, I kind of had this feeling in my head that eventually Venom might get the same treatment, and about a year later, it comes true. And pretty much I'm kind of really looking forward to it, and we saw all the previews, and I'm actually quite excited for it, and there's just a lot to digest from this, and I'm just pretty stoked for it, so
But my main thing is the first 5 issues, these people they chose. You have 2 Wolverines, 2 Deadpools, and a new Ghost Rider. That's not exactly who I wanted to see at the start of this event. I wanted more, Venom Hulk, Venom, Venom...
Well, I'd say that
somebody else besides just 2 Wolverines, 2 Deadpools. I wanted something new.
Yeah, well, considering Venom's history with Ghost Rider, back in the 90s, he used to team up and fight Ghost Rider and the Ghost Rider spin-off character Vengeance. So I think it might be a bit fitting to see a version of Ghost Rider getting a Venom symbiote. It's just historical. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. We've seen Venompool a few times before. So
many times that it's ruined his origin in quotes.
Yes, that's I love Cullen Bunn's work.
Oh yeah,
I'll stand up for the guy, but I do not like how Marvel
has forced.
They're forcing Deadpool into Venom's origin as being the first human host. I'm like, Deadpool.
Yeah, not a fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't stand that change at all.
Yeah, but like I said, props to Cullen Bunn, but that's just one thing I'm like, I can't stand by that.
Retcons are bad.
And with the popularity of Gwenpool recently, I'm not surprised that we're getting that, but I'm also surprised that we're not seeing a Gwenom. We'll get.
Yeah.
There's a little something we'll get to later in the podcast about Gwenom, but I'm just surprised that we're not seeing a Gwenom in Edge of Venomverse. And so far, we haven't seen anything about a Gwenom in just Venomverse proper?
One thing. So when the announcements came, because I'm comparing this a lot to the Edge of Spider-Verse, since it is basically based off that. And so if we look at the stories there, we had it was no Spider-Man Noir, which was like a fan favorite original, or like returning character who had gotten his own series, and so that was great. And then you had 4 brand new characters. So and then the Edge of Venomverse is sort of the same, except with Old Man Logan. It's like the T-Rex one, but it's going on him instead. So it's sort of similar, but it's just the fact that like we don't know how important these guys will be to the main event. Because, if you looked at the Spider-Verse one, yes, Spider-Gwen was important just because she suddenly became incredibly popular because of her costume. But then you had, 2 of them from the Edge of Spider-Verse, they died in that comic, in the Edge of Spider-Verse comic, and they weren't even in the main event. So we really don't know how important these guys will be to the Venomverse. I really hope, Deadpool Venom doesn't become too important. I read the What If Venom pool, and I didn't love it. It was just really weird with the Jerry Curl carnage. So I don't know how much... I love Deadpool. I really do. But I don't want him to be overexposed. And, I thought Gwenpool... when they announced who was, it's X-23 Venom. Okay, cool. I can get down with that. Gwenpool, well, it wouldn't be my first choice, but whatever. I'm interested to see what sort of shenanigans they get into it. Ghost Rider, great choice. I mean, it's sort of like the Hulk Ghost Rider from the Circle of 4 arc, except just Robbie Reyes, and I like that character too. And then it was Old Man Logan. It's like, do we need another Wolverine? I would have rather just read a story about just a T-Rex, like the origin, how Venom ended up on a T-Rex in that universe. That would have been awesome.
It would have been great to see, how would they team up with Venomsaurus Rex in Venomverse?
Yeah, and then you have the Deadpool Venom, and it was like, do we need this again?
We always need more Deadpool to sell those issues, sell those comics.
And the thing is too, even in Spider-Verse, I don't think not all of the main cast or the whole entire roster made an appearance. So they're gonna probably pick certain ones for the main event for the normal Venomverse that's gonna happen in the summer. But personally, I hope that everyone that we like gets to have a chance to be in the series. But it's Marvel after all. They're the ones who are calling the shots right now. So.
Yeah. We said one more thing about the Old Man Logan storyline. That's written by Ryan Key, who was in the band Yellow Card, so he's writing that, which is very interesting to say the least. But it seems the most interesting to me because it said, we need Old Man Logan to encounter the Venom T-Rex from the original story and end up with the symbiote suit somehow. So that seems kind of interesting to me. It's the OG Old Man Logan setting, just with Logan with the symbiote, which seems interesting to me at least.
Yeah, actually, thank you for bringing that up, is because when that news came out that this Yellow Card singer would be writing this issue and how he's never written a comic book before, when that news came out and I was on Reddit or whatever reading comments about it, all I kept seeing was, oh man, you're going to bring in someone who has never written a comic to write this huge comic, Old Man Logan, Venom, and all that. I'm like, yes, but let's also remember Gerard Way of Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance fame, right? That's where it's from?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure.
If you remember him, he also is a comic book writer. He was famous for his Umbrella Academy series, and he's currently writing. He's currently writing. I want to say it's Mother
Doom
Panic.
Patrol, isn't it?
Or Doom Patrol. Yeah, he's a part of DC's.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have this guy who's from the music industry writing comics. Don't be I'm just saying, don't jump to conclusions just yet, because we have Gerard Way, who's a great example of, look, he became big with comics, and he was just a musician. Why can't the Yellow Card guy become good with comics?
Folks can write comics,
And Gerard, it's funny too, because Gerard Way's debut into Marvel was with Edge of Venomverse, with a story I really liked with Penny Parker and the SPDR.
Edge of the Spider-Verse.
Spitter.
Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Spider-Verse. Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a really good story. And so now we have another a guy in a band who's doing Edge of Venomverse instead. So I'm open to it.
Yeah.
I envy them. At least they can write for Marvel, right?
Yeah, like, even though it's the whole, they have clout, it doesn't matter if they have clout. If Marvel's willing to let them have a go at it, I'd say let them have a go at it. They have some talent, so let's see what that translates.
And you can't fail if you have Wolverine and Venom in the same story, so it can't fail either way, right?
The sweethearts of the '90s, Wolverine and Venom.
Yeah, bonded again. Love it.
Any other? Do we have anything else to say about Edge of Venomverse before we move on?
The one thing I was mad about was they had a teaser for it that looked amazing. It had Ultimate Venom, Venom the Madness, Host Rider, Deadpool, Iron Man, She-Venom, and Eddie standing in the middle triumphantly.
Don't forget Poison.
Yeah, and Poison, right. They released this as a poster, right? All of the websites that had this had that teaser as the poster. But when I actually got the poster, it was for the first issue with the all-new Wolverine. So that kind of made me mad. But hopefully in Venomverse, if they release something else that we're about to talk about, that'll make up for it.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought it was going to be for the issue 1, but I guess that's not the case now. So
no, I think what it is it's I saw it earlier today. I was browsing variants.
Teaser.
It's going to be a variant.
It's a
variant, is what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the good stuffs are variants, apparently.
Yep. That's how they get you. That's the consistent thing about Venom recently is they get you to buy the physical copies with variants because the variants are fantastic and there's many of them.
Yep, and I still fall for it every time. Every time I fall for it.
All right, so I think that's a good place to put a pin in that conversation. So like I said, Edge of Venomverse will lead into September's main Venomverse event, which will see our main man, Eddie Brock, come face-to-face with a bunch of alternate universe Venoms and a brand new race of symbiote predators called the Poisons. Venomverse will be illustrated by, and I hope I'm getting this name pronunciation right, Iban Coelho, who credits include Batman Beyond the Universe and Deadpool and the Mercs for Money. And it will be written by Cullen Bunn, the creator who closed out the first Agent Venom series and introduced our fan favorite character Andy Benton, aka Mania. We don't have details yet on who else will be involved with the main book, letterers or colorists or whoever. But we have gotten a sneak peek at both the artwork, some of the artwork that will be in the book, plus interlocking Venomverse covers illustrated by none other than legendary symbiote artist Clayton Crane. And if you haven't seen this image yet, we'll put it up. It's to die for, and we'll name off everybody. We'll have Aaron name off every single symbiote that's on that cover because he made a great infographic for that. It's pretty good. But also in September, a tie-in Venomverse War Stories anthology issue will be published featuring a Venomized Punisher story written and drawn by Declan Shalvey, who illustrated several of the Minimum Carnage stories and worked with Cullen to create the memorable Venom Toxin with a Vengeance storyline. This is a metric ton of awesomeness to unpack, wouldn't you say, Tyler?
Oh man, I mean, where to start? I think we got to start with that poster. I mean, holy cow! Clayton Crane's already one of my favorite artists in general.
He's a symbiote legend. He's a symbiote legend, honestly.
Absolutely, and just it's beautiful. And not only is it the main Venoms, but it's so cool to see Mania there, Poison, and we'll go into that later. But it's fan favorite Venoms. This is awesome. So. Just, man, I can't stop looking at that poster. My only complaint is that, got Lee Price instead, MJ and Lee Price instead of, black suit Peter Parker. But, what can you do?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just beautiful. there's not enough words. Just oh my goodness, it's so good looking.
So let's have Aaron name off everyone who's in this poster for the viewers who don't know who's who. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. Superior Venom, Wolverine Venom, Poison, Mania, Zombie Venom, Venomized, Rocket Raccoon, Venom, Space Knight, Earth X Venom, Venomsaurus Rex, Venom in a leather jacket, Ultimate Venom, 616 Venom, Mayhem, Venom the Madness, Venom 2099, Venomized Punisher, Lee Price Venom, Venomized Spinneret, aka Mary Jane Parker from the Renew Your Vows series, the new Venomverse Venom, Venom Fortunato, Matt Gargan, Venom, Agent Venom, Ultimate Venom number 2, Conrad Marcus, She-Venom, Pork Grind, and the new Host Rider. I could not sing that. I'm sorry, I failed.
we wanted to try to do a poke rap with that, but
there's no way I could sing that. There's too many
Yeah. All right, but thank you for that. I mean, there's so many great versions of Venom out there, and yeah, we don't get a great symbiote Spider-Man, but we do get Poison, who is technically symbiote Spider-Man. If you know him
and
from
Superior Venom too. Yeah,
it was from the Spider-Man the Other What If comic.
Yep.
So
when that image released, I just had to put that up on my Facebook banner. It's so good,
dude. Yeah. This is the best thing I've ever seen from his work, and this is the one thing I want released as a banner. Okay, Spider-Verse had this awesome thing, or the same thing.
It's a similar thing.
Others, yeah. It had all these spiders, and and that was released as a banner. So I want this desperately as a banner. I'm going to hang it up everywhere.
Yeah,
it looks great.
It's going to be coming out as each one will be a variant cover to the main comic. But,
which is
hopefully it'll be much
cheaper.
It'll be cheaper than Venom number 150's main Clayton Crane variant, which went for over $500 because of how rare
his
it is.
Variants are always expensive, but it is worth it though. He makes great art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Started with Carnage, and now we're here. Yeah, he started off in that Carnage series. Well, Venom versus Carnage, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. It's surprising you look back at Venom versus Carnage, and you can say,
Yeah, his art style has just changed so much with Carnage and Venom.
It was between
it's changed so
Venom
much.
versus Carnage. He first started out with Venom versus Carnage, and then for a while we didn't see him, and then he returned with the first Carnage series, Family Feud.
Right,
and when he came back with that, I was like, wow, what a difference. It's so much better, and it's just been getting better ever since.
Yeah. I mean, he also did that sensational Spider-Man cover and some of the art for that.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so that was awesome as well.
Let's see, he's also done Carnage USA. What else has he done?
He did the Minimum Carnage covers.
Minimum Carnage, he did those. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So,
so we really have nothing but good things to say about Clayton Crane.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's great.
And I like
but
the
just
way
make your stuff
does the
cheaper
spider
though.
symbol.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And so there was one thing is found this out today that probably a week or so ago. It was reported on a bunch of different comic news sites, like Bleeding Cool, that there was a few preview pages put out.
Oh yeah.
That people were saying were for Edge of Venomverse number 1, and the preview pages, even though they are for Venomverse, it's actually for Venomverse number 1. It's because the art is by Iban Coelho, who's doing the art for Venomverse. And so just wanted to point that out, that art is not for Edge of Venomverse number 1. We haven't yet seen, well, maybe we have seen some art already for Edge of Venomverse number 1. I saw some a few days ago. We all did.
Because
off his Instagram,
wouldn't that be for X-23's story, right? Isn't that for
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we saw that, but the first one that came out that features Jack-O-Lantern versus Eddie Brock's Venom, that was by Iban Coelho.
That's the best thing I've seen in a long time. Like, just Venom, like the new reformed Eddie Brock Venom fighting the old Flash's
big foe.
Jack-O-Lantern. Yeah, he's fighting Flash's arch
Yep.
nemesis, and he's saying, "Hey, I'm not Flash," and he throws the guy off, ladders, and he lands on him. Like that's the best thing I've seen in a while. Just Eddie just being vicious against other bad guys, not showing any mercy like Flash would. That's great.
Yeah, no, because I was about to say, because when I saw the preview, there's going to be a joke there where Jackson start taunting him and like, "Hey, Flash, is that you?" And then he's be like, "Guess again, it's not Flash."
Guess again, he just throws him off. He like Gwen Stacy's her. Gwen Stacy's him like off the the safety ladder. Yeah.
Quick question: is the artist the same guy who did some art for Venom like 4 or 5?
I believe so. I saw a preview on his Instagram, and I believe he's the same artist.
If he's the same artist I'm thinking of, I mean, just judging by this alone as well, but I love his art. I think he's the best artist who's worked on all 7 of the first issues. I think he's my favorite artist out of all of them. So if he's doing all the art for Venomverse, count me in, man.
Yeah,
he draws Eddie Brock like super cool, and he draws Venom like appropriately vicious.
Yeah. And I visited his Tumblr account where he posts a bunch of art, and I've looked at his work, and I'm also familiar with his work from Batman Beyond universe, because Batman Beyond is one of my other favorite characters.
Okay.
Yeah, I really love his work because if you look at it, he just has this style. It's constant movement. It's just fluid motion, and it's very expressive. So yeah, this is gonna be great to see him working on Venom like this. And yeah, maybe we have seen him as like a backup artist for previous Venom issues. Like I want to say maybe Venom 4, Venom 5, one of those.
Right. Man, and just going back to the whole Jack-o'-lantern thing, I want Eddie Brock to interact with like every single one of Flash's villains
and just murder all of them.
Yeah,
just show,
right,
hey guys, I'm not Flash. I am here to kill you guys. Like, you made me be Toxin, and I'm going to have my revenge.
Hey,
Right,
just for kicks, let's go knock on Mephisto's door.
Oh yeah, please. I want that marriage back too while I'm at it.
No, I really hope the symbiote mentions like really not liking Jack-o'-lantern though. Like, oh, this guy. Let's do something to this guy. That couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So,
it's great stuff, and it's something that I've been hoping for since the transition. This kind of stuff is just clever and fun for people who have been following the character for years.
Who else but Bun, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, man.
But to dig a bit deeper into the actual meat of the event, so I was a guy who really loved the concept of Spider-Verse. I've always loved the whole alternate realities, and I have action figures of a ton of the different alternate Spider-Man. And so a big event with all of them teaming up, like fight a foe, I thought was really cool. I wasn't a huge fan of the actual main story, because some of the things that happened in it it was okay.
Yeah,
but
inheritors, space vampires.
I love Moreland. I do love Moreland, but I thought his family of vampires was kind of But so I still love the concept, and all the tie-ins to it were great. So like you have Edge of Spider-Verse was overall really fun, and the anthologies and so obviously if it's going to be the same thing but with Venoms and then not having inheritors, that's already a great start. So it's already like pandering directly to me, and so I really couldn't be happier with this. This is just so awesome, and then we have the new villains of the Poisons.
Yeah, I get the feeling.
About to bring that up too.
I get the feeling that the Poisons are going to be our inheritors, just from the concepts of them. They're especially after symbiotes, not just symbiotes, Venom. So,
they are symbiotes of symbiotes, apparently. They bond with Venoms, and they just overtake the whole bond.
I think that's like a super cool concept. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's fun and clever. It's kind of venoming the Venoms, right? They're kind of getting a taste of their own medicine for the most part, and this could lead into potential ongoing villains for Venom later on. Like, as much as I hate Lee Price, if he gets a Venom symbiote and then he gets overtaken by like a poison and he becomes Eddie Brock's new, villain to fight, like I'd say that's like the best use of him, right? Like I don't know. That's just how I feel.
No, it's definitely a cool take on like the whole alien origins, because other than like the Bendis' story, we haven't really touched on the alien origins. They had the xenophage, which was like we saw like once and then never saw again, which was like a predator of symbiotes. So I do like going back to its alien roots and saying like, what if there's other predators, things that dislike symbiotes, or so I do think it's a cool take on something, and I'm interested to see where it goes.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to see the xenophage returning, so it's not like, oh, this is a one-off thing. One day I'd like to see the xenophage return along with these poisons. I just want to see more. Everyone laments. Everyone doesn't like the whole Clintar culture and idea and everything, but I'm like, I want to see more of that. I want to see like what makes these symbiotes tick, what makes them afraid.
Yeah, poison.
Yeah, because I'm like wondering about their backstory. Like, are they like possibly an ancient nemesis to the symbiotes in some way? Like, why are they after them, and why do they want to get rid of Venom and Eddie? And the other Venomized characters. Like, that's one thing I'm kind of like interested in knowing more, because now it's got me more intrigued to find out. So
yeah, why Venom in particular?
Yes, why this Venom? And this story is going to find out why Eddie is the best Venom, as they said.
Yeah, Cullen Bunn came out and said,
This is going to explain why Eddie Brock is the best Venom in all the universe, better than Flash and other people.
Yeah. Cullen Bunn had said, he loves Flash and everything, but he never thought that Flash was the best Venom.
Yeah, Eddie is the best, and this is going to tell us why. This is going to
explain
to us why.
Flash is the best Agent Venom, and then Eddie's the best Venom.
Well, that's just semantics now. Come on, they're all Venom.
Personally for me, for Venomverse, like I really hope we get more Mania, because like I hope this is where she actually gets more time to shine with with the other Venomized characters. So I hope she does something. So,
but she is on the banner about the same time with the one with Spider-Verse. Not a whole lot of those guys are in the book, so I'm kind of doubting that like we're going to see anyone else from the 616 besides OG Eddie Brock Venom.
Well, hey, to be fair, Dan Slott wrote his original character, Spider UK.
Oh, yeah, right.
He was heavily involved in Spider-Verse, so maybe Cullen Bunn will take his original character, Mania, and heavily involve her, and he'll give her a spin-off, something.
And Silk, too, yeah, I mean, Silk was also in Spider-Verse, and she, spun out of that. So.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm really hoping Bunn uses Mania to her full potential, because it'd be really awesome to see Mania like just advertised like that.
Right. This is kind of the perfect opportunity, just like you guys said. Spider-Gwen and Silk both came out of this with their heads up and like got their own series and stuff. This is the perfect opportunity to introduce a lot of people to Mania, and maybe Flash Thompson if they give him a suit again. This is a really good opportunity. To show these characters off, and then maybe give them their own comics, because Marvel's venomizing everything. It wouldn't hurt to have multiple symbiote comics at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at some point we're going to get another Carnage comic. Come on, at some point.
Yes.
Right, and speaking of that, like that's my greatest hope for this comic. They've mentioned that Deadpool is going to be one of the main characters, and he's going to be making jokes the whole time, right? He's going to be the lighthearted, Venom out of the ragtag team of Venoms, And, I'm not super excited about that, but I really hope that they really choose good Venoms. Like, it would be a waste not to put Flash or Mania on the ragtag team.
And She-Venom, please. I want to see some She-Venom.
Yes, and
bring
back
I want to
Anne.
see Eddie and Anne reunited.
What if they have from like the Spider-Verse scene when main Spider-Man meets Spider-Gwen?
Like we couldn't save each other.
Yeah,
like that. Yeah.
If they had that
touchy-feely moments, please.
And something
to cry, Bun. Make me cry.
Yeah, something that'd be really cool to have would be like because it had Spider-Verse had a bunch of spin-offs. But one of the spin-offs was the start of the Spider-Woman series, and that started out with like all the Spider-Girls like teaming up. So I think it'd be really cool to have like something similar with Venom, where you have She-Venom, Mary Jane Spinneret, Mayhem, Mayday from Earth X, and Mania all teaming up in like a little story. I think that'd be awesome.
That'd be great.
But I just don't see it happening, guys. I think we're getting too much ahead of ourselves. But
yeah. This is all.
It would be nice.
Hopes and dreams. Hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams.
But how about this? Let's each of us say who. Like, we know who we're going to see already in this Edge of Venomverse and Venomverse series. We've seen the art and everything. Let's say who we hope to see in the background somewhere. One of our favorite versions of Venom or whatever.
All right. Well, I really want to see Ultimate Venom Eddie Brock Jr. He's on the front of the banner right by 616 Eddie. And I am still wondering what happened to him in the Ultimate Universe. I want to know what happened. It's killing me.
Nah.
Well, I mean, personally, it's just been hanging there for almost 10 years now. I want to know what happened to him.
I'm just joking around just because I don't really care about the Ultimate Universe.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, I love all my alternate universe Eddies, and that mystery of what happened after, he got sucked up just hasn't been answered at all. So, I just want to know that personally.
How about you, John?
Okay, can you reiterate the question? Like, are you saying what character do we want, like, in the ragtag team or just in the background?
It could be in the ragtag team, it could be in the background, but just like someone who we haven't seen yet that you want to see.
Well, I mean, on the ragtag team, it's obviously Age of Venom, but if we're talking about, like, in the background, like, just kind of doing stuff, I'm honestly really curious to see Spinneret Venom and seeing what she can do.
Yes.
I just reread the Renew Your Vows ongoing, and I'm really, really, really enjoying it. And so, Mary Jane's like sassy. She can bring a whole another level of sass to the Venomverse comic. And I don't know. So, yeah, probably her.
And how about you, Tyler?
Oh, man. I mean, the poster itself really has a lot of the bases covered. You got Poison, Earth X, Mayhem, Agent Venom and Mania, obviously. But like I said, I would like to see, Peter Parker, symbiote Spider-Man, like one where they maybe made peace with each other. Like, that'd be really cool to see. Like, just sort of in the background, like, oh yeah, what do you mean? Why would I get rid of the symbiote? Like, it didn't make me evil or anything. So, but another one I would like to see. I mean, this is just my pipe dream of just the one. Speaking of Stegron and stuff, from the Spider Island Secret Wars series, where Stegron was involved in Flash Thompson sacrificed his life, and maybe the symbiote didn't die, and maybe it could, end up. Maybe that's how Agent Venom appears in this series, where it bonds with 616 Flash Thompson because it lost its Flash Thompson, and so I think that'd be really cool to see.
Oh, that would be amazing.
And how about you, Carlos? Who would you like to see?
Well, I'm looking at the poster right now. I actually want to see Zombie Venom. Hopefully, if he gets a little bit of page time. But obviously, my main two would have to be Mania and She-Venom. But who I don't want to see at all is Fortunato. What the hell is he doing over there? Oh my gosh!
I'm surprised you're not saying Lee Price. We don't want to see freaking Lee Price,
I want to see Lee Price.
And he's right in front by Mary Jane. What's going on? Are they a thing now?
I don't know what's going on there.
I want Lee Price to show up just to be the first victim of the poison.
Mauled to death by Eddie or somebody.
Well, no, that's what Fortunato's role's got to be, right? He's got to be the cannon fodder.
I'll save you guys. You go on, make more fan fictions about me.
I was just transitional.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised no one has mentioned it, so I'm going to say the Venom I want to see is Hydra Venom.
Oh,
you remember him?
Good answer.
Yeah, from the Hail Hydra little mini
Secret
comic
Wars mini,
from Secret Wars, yeah. I love that concept mainly because of his Vipers, his female symbiote counterparts, his minions, because I got a total Charlie's Angels vibe from that.
Yeah,
That's
Eddie's
what
Angels going off. They murdered all of the Avengers in that series. It was great seeing Eddie just maul through the Avengers.
I would just love, maybe even a one-shot, like maybe that can be a part of the War Stories anthology, is we get an Eddie's Angels with Hydra Venom. That'd be like hilarious and fantastic at the same time. I'd love to see that. But also, you guys pick from the poster, so I'm going to pick from the poster too, and I want to see Poison. It's Peter Parker rebonding with the symbiote.
Yes.
I love to see that because, maybe he can tag along with his dead Gwen Stacy Carnage girlfriend from the end.
That would be nice to
Ooh.
see. We've never seen that. Yeah,
That's something I forgot to mention. Yeah, I really like Poison. I'm a sucker for the other. Even like I'm not usually a big fan of like magic involving Spider-Man, but I really like the other guy. I love that What If.
Yeah, that What If is one of my favorites as well. So both Hydra Venom and Poison, that's who I want to see more of in this. All right.
I wouldn't hate to see Superior Venom either, just because that would add like the douche intellect to the team.
Yeah.
Otto could suck it.
Yeah.
I love Superior Spider-Man. I liked Superior Venom. You know what he tried to do? Like he was like the proto Lee Price. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna dominate you with my mind."
Oh yeah.
Well, I think that whole arc was kind of lame, but I mean, this is like a what if Superior Venom, like what if he did bond for it permanently and stuff like that. I think it could be interesting, at least just because I really do like the Superior Spider-Man storyline.
Yeah.
Honorable mention first, another Venom I like to see, the one from the MC2 universe, where either like one of the Osborns or Spider Venom, where it rebonds to Peter again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Spider Venom. Yeah.
Spider Venom.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So
I'd say
War Stories or War Files.
Oh yeah, War Files. So War Files is an anthology book, which means it's going to have multiple artists and multiple stories. But one of the confirmed artists and stories will be Declan Shalvey with a Venom
Mania's
Punisher.
creator. Yeah.
So what does everybody think about Declan Shalvey and Venom Punisher?
That would be great. I just want some more stories. I want some more.
Absolutely. Just like inject more symbiotes just into my bloodstream, please. Just like
just directly IV it in there.
And just Punisher, I think, is already a great fit for Venom. He already had the sort of lethal protector thing going on.
Yeah, like folks love that story too. Yeah,
for sure.
Like he's had like figures and cards and like that's a very famous story.
Venom with guns before Agent Venom.
Yeah.
And Declan Shalvey is one of my top symbiote artists as well. I was blown away by his work with Venom and Minimum Carnage. That Toxin storyline. It's his design of Eddie Brock's Toxin is still my favorite of all. I love that back spaghetti. I can't get enough of it.
No, I mean, he's just a great artist in general. I mean, I loved his work on the Ellis Moon Knight issues.
Yeah.
That was friggin' fantastic.
Yeah.
So, just like I love some of the things he did, even like creative things with the comic, where like he would blend in Moon Knight's cape into the panels. Mm-hmm. And so I think that like there's some very cool opportunities you can do that with like a Punisher Venom. So
yeah. All right.
And the War Zones is a perfect opportunity to have different quote unquote ragtag teams, if you will, if they go that route.
Yeah, just like it was the Tales from the Spider-Verse, I believe, was another anthology.
Right.
Like
the main ragtag team, the one that does the most significant thing, is obviously going to be Eddie and Deadpool,
and some,
Venom, and like
Flash,
Wolverine,
Black Panther, as we've seen.
Oh yeah, Flash will totally be in it. Yeah.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
if he's not, then like this would be a perfect opportunity to have a different ragtag team with, Punisher, Venom 2099. And then Agent Venom and Punisher would be an awesome comic book.
Oh yeah,
two gun-wielding dudes just fighting off poisons like zombies. And then they could do another team with Mania and She-Venom and Mayhem, like a girls' night out kind of story.
All that good stuff.
There's a lot of good opportunities for them to take here, whether they will or not. I don't know. But I'm happy either way. I'm happy with like a Punisher one, even if it's just him. I think that'll be interesting.
Who I'd like to see in this anthology book is to see Chris Giarrusso return with Mini Marvel's Venom. If anyone's read Mini Marvel's Venom, the battle between Spider-Man and Venom for the Paperboy position, that was a fun one.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, so even though I'm super hyped about this event, I will say my one big complaint is that it is a Venomverse, not a symbiote verse. And I think a symbiote verse would have made sense, especially with how they're describing the poisons. It would have made sense to throw in some Carnage, Anti-Venom, Scorn, Toxin. Like, give me alternate universe of a bunch of different symbiotes. So, I mean, hopefully we see some of them get like some side stories, at least background appearances in some of the anthology titles, just like we talked about with the Carnage Gwen, like for the poison. And so I'd like to see some here and there, and it is disappointing
that we won't. Way too much, man. It's just way too much. You got to stay with Venom. Just stay with Venom.
Maybe later we'll get a battle royale story with every symbiote in the main Marvel universe. Let's just fight it out, see who's the best.
And of course, it'll be Eddie, because that's what this whole Venomverse is about.
Yeah.
Why he's the best at what he does. I am anxious to see where that goes, why he's the best, and why they want him to lead this ragtag group of Venoms across
if he's leading
the universe. Like, they have all these guys. They have Wolverine. They have Rocket Raccoon, a giant T-Rex. They have a zombie Venom. Why Eddie, this normal guy, who's just in this random universe? Like, why pick him over all these superpowered, symbiote hosts?
Yeah.
Why Eddie? Yeah, OG, yeah. And why is he the best? That's the question I want to know.
All right. I think that's a good place to put a pin in that. And before we close out our discussions for the episode, we got to give Aaron his piece about recent developments in the Spider-Gwen comic series. So why don't you tell us what's got you bouncing off the walls, Aaron?
Well, Spider-Gwen has been a popular thing since Edge of Spider-Verse, which was a few years ago. I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, and she's really, been popular as a character. And she's had 3 series already, and this series right now, I believe, is on issue 20. And now since she started, folks have been asking, "Where's Venom? Where's Venom? Where's her version of Venom?" And the first time we saw anything with her and Venom was a Guardians of Nowhere from Secret Wars variant. It was a Gwenom variant, and that also started Gwenpool, and it started all these other, Gwen-centric items. So it started Gwenpool, and it also had this variant of Gwenom. Then after that, recently we've had a Venomized variants that had Gwenom on it. But up until last month, they finally started the Venom story arc. So now we have this new character called Elsa Brock, who's her version of Eddie Brock, of course, and she creates this Venom that will cure Harry Osborn of his lizard infection. So they're finally going to start Venom, which I'm excited about, and I'm pretty excited that she's called Elsa Brock, because ever since Frozen came out, I've quote ironically end quote have shipped Eddie Brock and Elsa as a couple. So seeing a character named Elsa Brock actually become real is a pretty big deal for me, honestly. But I'm just happy that she's a real character, and Spider-Gwen is finally starting all this Venom story arc, and see if Elsa will actually be Venom in that story.
Yeah,
or they'll just stay. Well, here's what you guys want. Here's Gwenom, but then what do they do after that? Like, is Elsa going to be Venom? Or are they just going to stop with Gwenom? Like what are they going to do with that? So hopefully Elsa is a character after that, because I like Elsa Brock so far.
So many people who are listening to this will never know the dark days of
it's an
Aaron.
in-joke. It's a very much of an in-joke.
Yeah, if you were around following
2013
Aaron,
up till now.
2013, oh man, he was all about that Elsa and Frozen.
Dude, I saw Frozen in the movie theater, and I loved every second of it. And
It changed your life.
Yeah.
He's yet to let it go.
It changed my life. Elsa changed my life just like Venom changed my life. It was a religious experience. So actually seeing a character named Elsa Brock, I was like, are you serious?
You memed it to life.
Did they actually do this? Yeah. Memed it to life, as I said. I made it happen. I made it happen just as I made Eddie Brock back as Venom happened. All of this is because of me. Yep.
Some might call it an unhealthy obsession, but
unhealthy obsession. Yes, just like with Venom.
Yep.
Yeah. very
Yes.
unhealthy, but it happened nonetheless, and I am pleased. And I'm hoping Elsa Brock continues to be something. Maybe if she'll be Venom, she'll be in the next Venomverse series.
The next
pop
one,
up in here.
Venomverse 2.
Yeah, Venomverse 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, please. Yeah.
All right. I think that's about time to wrap things up for our 2-part podcast extravaganza. There is so much more that we want to discuss about Venom, like Venom movie news. There's a lot of Venom movie news that's come out recently. Very exciting stuff. But we'll get to that stuff in our next episode or episode after that, which should be coming sooner than maybe August or so, maybe. For now, we'll put a pin on that. I don't know if I forgot to say the line at the beginning of the podcast, but we have a special announcement to make. In our next episode, episode 5 of We Are Venomaniacs, we'll be joined by special guests Cullen Bunn and Declan Shalvey, who will talk about their upcoming work with Venomverse, among other things. Additionally, you, the Venomaniac community, will get a chance to submit a question to ask either of our guests. Or you could just submit a comment about how cool they are, or how happy we're all about their returning to our corner of the Marvel Universe. So keep an eye on thevenomsite.com or on the Venom Site's subreddit, r/thevenomsite, for details about how you can submit your question or comment. Then you can look forward to episode 5 sometime in late July, or late June or early July, sometime then. But anyways, thank you very much, Carlos, John, Tyler, and Aaron, for joining me today. And thanks to the Venom Site for permitting us to make this podcast under the TVS banner, and all of your generous support. And finally, thank you, loyal listeners and fellow Venomaniacs. You guys make an awesome community, and it's an honor to be your voice on the airwaves. Together, we are Venomaniacs.